All right, let's talk about making real money on Zocialized. We all know it's not just about getting lucky and going viral. So today, we're going to open up the official playbook. We're breaking down the two main ways you can get paid, what the numbers actually look like, and the rules you absolutely have to know, because they can make or break you on the platform.
You know, this is the question, right? It's the one that probably keeps you up at night. Can this thing you love, this content you pour your soul into, can it actually pay the rent? It's the ultimate dream, but figuring out how to make it a reality can feel, well, kind of impossible.
Well, Zocialized has built its entire ecosystem around trying to answer that question with a yes. But here's the thing. It's not some magic button where you just post and get paid. They've laid out two very different paths to earn, and each one comes with its own strategy, and more importantly, a rulebook you really can't afford to ignore. So let's dive into the first one.
Okay, path one. This is the traditional route, the one you're probably most familiar with. Ads and brand deals. Now, this path is really geared towards the heavy hitters, the creators who've already done the hard work of building a solid audience that actually likes, comments, and shares their stuff. And here's where you can really see how your growth pays off. When you're just starting out, you're earning based on what's called CPM. That's basically what advertisers pay for 1,000 views. We're talking $3 to $8. But just look at the jump when you hit the elite tier. That's up to $50 for the exact same 1,000 views. Plus, you start earning per click and even get bonuses when people watch a whole ad. It really starts to stack up.
But let's be real, the serious money isn't in the automated ads, it's in direct sponsorships. And get this, Zocialized even has an AI that plays matchmaker, connecting you with brands. For smaller creators, a campaign could be worth $500, but for the elite influencers, we're talking $250,000 or even more. They're even pushing into things like NFT collab.
So you're probably thinking, great, where do I sign up? Well, hold on, you can't just flip a switch, it's a whole process. You have to formally apply, go through identity verification, and then they actually review your content to make sure it's up to snuff. It's their way of making sure the platform stays high quality for the advertisers who are footing the bill.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the second path. This one is called credits per view, and it's built for a totally different kind of creator. This is for the grinders, the people who are still building their audience but are consistently putting out a ton of content. The whole model here is built around one key concept, the verified view. And no, this isn't just any view. It has to come from a real user whose identity has been confirmed. That's how Zocialized stops bots and fraud from ruining the system. And here's another crucial detail. To keep it fair, there's a cap. You only get paid for the first 7 views from any single person each day.
So what's all that mean for your bank account? Well, for every 1,000 of those legit, verified views, you can expect to earn somewhere between $50 and $100. This is a pure volume play. Simple as that. The more real people you can get to watch your stuff, the more money you're going to make.
Okay, but what's the catch? Well, it's the revenue split. For every single dollar that comes in through this system, you, the creator, get to keep 45 cents. Zocialized takes the other 55 cents. Yep, more than half goes to the platform. That's a super important number to keep in your head when you're trying to figure out your potential earnings here.
So let's just put them side by side for a second. On one hand, you have the ad program. That's for the established players chasing those big-ticket deals. On the other, you have credits per view, a volume game that's pretty much open to everyone from day one. Which one is right for you? It really just comes down to where you are in your journey as a creator right now.
Now that you know the two paths, we've got to talk about the rules. These are the essentials that apply to everyone, no matter which path you're on. And you really need to pay attention, because getting this stuff wrong can get you disqualified from making any money at all. First things first, you have to be eligible. So you need a verified profile, that's a given. You have to actually be active and engaging with your community. For the ad program, you need to hit that 1,000 follower mark. For the credits program, it's a bit easier. Your account just needs to be at least a week old. But the big one, for both, is a clean record. No strikes, no policy violation. And then there's the content itself. Zocialized is incredibly strict about what you can and can't monetize. So no copyrighted stuff you don't own, nothing illegal, no spam, and definitely no just re-uploading someone else's videos. They also have a hard rule against anything that feels like a free money scheme or an airdrop promo. Oh, and no real violence unless it's very clearly for news or educational purposes. So you've picked your path, you're playing by the rules, but how do you actually know if what you're doing is working? How do you track it all? Well, the good news is Zocialized doesn't just leave you guessing. They give you a whole toolkit to figure it out. When you hop into your creator dashboard, it's like a command center for your channel. You can see exactly who your audience is, their age, where they live, everything.
You can track likes and shares to see what's hitting. You can literally watch your revenue tick up in real time. This is the data that helps you stop guessing and start building a real data-driven strategy.
So the platform makes some big promises, and the tools look great on paper. But what's the actual day-to-day experience for creators who are trying to make this their job? As you can probably imagine, it is a very mixed bag.
I mean, you've got creators like Sienna who are absolutely crushing it. She says the live tipping feature is a total game changer, and that she made more money in one single live stream than she did in a whole month on other platforms. That's incredible. It just goes to show that if you have a loyal community, they'll show up for you.
But then, on the other hand, you hear from creators like Marco. And his experience, well, it's the total opposite. He's talking about how the fees are just too high and that after Zocialized takes its 55% cut, there's almost nothing left for him. And that has to be incredibly demoralizing when you're grinding every day. Then there's Zoe, who found a totally different way to win. She's using the exclusive content features to build a steady income, making over $500 last month. She calls it empowering, and you can see why. That kind of predictable recurring revenue is the holy grail for a lot of creators.
And then you've got Ethan, and his story is a tough one to hear. He says he didn't make a single penny, that it just felt like he was shouting into the void. It's a harsh reminder that no matter how good the tools are, you still have to break through and get noticed by the algorithm. If you can't do that, all these monetization features can feel a million miles away.
So at the end of the day, Zocialized gives you the map, but you're the one who has to navigate the journey. And it really brings us to this huge question that's hanging over the whole creator economy. Is this a real, sustainable career path we're building? Or is it more like a giant contest where only a few people get to win? It's a question every single creator needs to ask themselves before they go all in.